Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 31, texts 26 through 28. Shri Shuka Uvacha Yaesha Uttanapado Manavasyanuvarnitah Vamshah Priyavratasyapi Nibodhanripasattama. 27. Yo naradādatma-vidyam adhigamya punarmahim bhuktva vibhajya putrebhya aishvaram samagatpadam. 28. Imam tu kausharavinopavārnitam kshatta nishamya jitavāda satkatham pravriddha bhavo shrukalakulo mune dadhara murdhna charanam hridahare. So 26 we will so 26 again. So Shri Shukaha Uvacha, Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Yaha, which, Eshaha, this dynasty, Uttanapada, of King Uttanapada, Manavasya, the son of Swayambhuva Manu, Anuvarnitaha, described, following in the footsteps of previous acharyas, Vamsha, dynasty, Priyavratasya, of King Priyavrata, Api, also, Nibodha, try to understand, Nripasattama, O best of kings. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shukadeva Goswami continued, O best of kings, King Parikshit, I have now finished telling about the descendants of the second son of Swayambhuva Manu, Uttanapada. I shall now try to relate the activities of the descendants of Priyavrata, the first son of Swayambhuva Manu. Please hear them attentively. So please repeat. Shukadeva Goswami continued, O best of kings, King Parikshit, I have now finished telling about the descendants of the second son of Swayambhuva Manu, Uttanapada. I shall now try to relate the activities of the descendants of Priyavrata, the first son of Swayambhuva Manu. Please hear them attentively. So before we go any further, we have to say the Mangalacharan. We will say the Mangalacharan and we will continue with this whole explanation. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So, just to give some context and who are these personalities, just briefly. So here a conversation is going on between Shukadeva Goswami and King Parikshit. And in that conversation, he is describing another conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. And in that conversation, there is another conversation of Narada and the Prachetas. So this is a conversation and a conversation and a conversation. Conversation about a conversation about a conversation, like that. So, Shukadeva Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj, now I have finished telling about the descendants of the second son of Swayambhu Manu, Uttanapada. So who is Swayambhu Manu first of all? Okay. Any other information about him? He is the son of Brahma. Father of mankind. Okay. What else? Prajapati. Progenitor. What else? What is that? That is what I wanted to come to. So sun god gave the knowledge to Manu, but that is not Swayambhu Manu. Vaivasvata Manu. What is Vaivasvata Manu? Vivaswan's son is Vaivasvata. Just like Kunti's son is Kaunteya. Like that. Bharata's descendant is Bharata. So after the first consonant there will be a added. So who is Swayambhu Manu then? If he is not Vaivasvata Manu. And who is Vaivasvata Manu?
There are 14 Manus in one day. So out of them.
Swayambhu Manu is which Manu? Currently Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhuva Swarochusha Uttama Tamasa Raivata Chakshusha Vaivasvata. I forgot. Okay. Swayambhuva Swarochusha. Okay, so here we have. Okay, in fact the names. Okay. The Manus who are prominent within this universe are as follows. Yajna as Swayambhuva Manu. So Swayambhuva Manu is a post because he is coming from Swayambhu Brahma. Because he did not come from a mother. Brahma did not come from a mother. So he is self-manifested, it is said, but actually came from the father. There is no such thing as self-manifested otherwise. So, but the name is Yajna. Name. Like Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister is Lisinlu. Post and the name of the person. So, the Swayambhuva's name is actually Yajna. And Vibhu as Svarochishamanu. Okay, actually we will come here later. These are the various manus existing in one day of Brahma are as follows. Swayambhuva, Svarochisha, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata, Chakshusha, Vaivasvata, Savarni, Daksha Savarni, Brahma Savarni, Dharma Savarni, Rudra Savarni, Deva Savarni and Indra Savarni. So from Vaivasvata, after Vaivasvata 8 onwards, all Savarni. Savarni, Daksha Savarni, Brahma Savarni, Dharma Savarni, Daksha Savarni, Brahma Savarni, Dharma Savarni, Rudra Savarni, Deva Savarni, Indra Savarni. I always forget this order, the 8 onwards. Savarni, Daksha Savarni, Brahma Savarni, Dharma Savarni, Rudra Savarni, Deva Savarni, Indra Savarni. Yes. So, these are the 14 manus. So, Swayambhuva Manu is the first Manu. When Brahma starts his day, that time, first Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. And as we have seen, and then Svarochisha, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata, Chakshusha, Vaivasvata. Vaivasvata is now 7th Manu. You know, in those who are from Brahmin families, if they have done any sankalpa during the yajna, any sandhya vandana, they do this. Adya Brahmana Dvitiya Parardhe Shri Shvetavaraha Kalpe Vaivasvata Manmantare Kali Yuge Prathama Pade Bharata Varshe Bharata Khande Meroh Dakshina Parshve. Here in Singapore means Simhapuri Nagarantargat. So in this way, your space-time coordinates of where you are performing, for what purpose, for whom, everything is declared in the sankalpa of the yajna. So I was quite used to this, but I never knew the meaning until I came. Dvitiya Parardhe. Adya means today. Dvitiya Parardhe. Parardha means one half of Brahma's life. And first half is finished, now is the second half. Dvitiya Parardhe, in the second half of Brahma. Shri Shvetavaraha Kalpe. So Shvetavaraha. And there is, what is that? Red. Raktavaraha. Raktavarna Varaha. So red Varaha and white Varaha is there. 2 Varahas came. Not only one Varaha. One of them fought with Hiranyaksha. Another one did not fight with Hiranyaksha. Just lifted the earth. So that one must be. So I think the one of them, the Hiranyaksha one, came in what Manu? I'm not actually sure. Maybe Swayambhuva. I don't remember. Then there was another this with and that too. Kalpa means the entire series of Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. Shri Shvetavaraha Kalpe. So in this Kalpa, there was a Shvetavaraha. That means Shvetavaraha Kalpe, Vaivasvata Manmantare. Kalpa is, that means one day of Brahma. So in this day there was Shvetavaraha. That means red Varaha must be on another day. I don't know actually. I am myself confused. So anyway, so in this way the time and space, I mean where exactly in Bharatavarshe, Jambudvipe, Bharatavarshe, Bharatakhande, Meroh Dakshina Parshve, Meru mountains to the south of the Meru mountain. So in this way this whole description is given, Sankalpa. Only when I read Bhagavatam then I understood what that Sankalpa meant. So anyway, here are the names of those. Yajna as Swayambhuva Manu, Vibhu as Svarochisha Manu, Satyasena as Uttama Manu, Hari as Tamasa Manu, Vaikuntha as Raivata Manu, Ajita as Chakshusha Manu, Vamana as Vaivasvata Manu. This is interesting because Vivasvan we know the name, but Vaivasvata Manu's name we do not know. Here it is there, Vamana. So, this is not of course Vaman Dev, his name is Vaman. Present day is under the Vaivasvat Manu. Sarvabhauma as Savarni Manu, Rishabha as Daksha Savarni Manu. These personalities haven't come yet. Now we are in the 7th Manu only. 8th Manu, all these names are mentioned. This is Shastra. How authoritative. Past, present, future, everything. Rishabha as Daksha Savarni Manu, Vishwaksena as Brahma Savarni Manu, Dharmasetu as Dharma Savarni Manu, Sudhama as Rudra Savarni Manu, Yogeshwar as Deva Savarni Manu, and Brihad Bhanu as Indra Savarni Manu. These are the names of one set of 14 Manus covering 4,300,000,000 solar years as described above. Yeah, of course, I mean, these are not concocted names. I don't know where exactly. Maybe Manu Samhita, I don't know where. It is taken from these things, or is it from the Bhagavatam verse here or what? I don't know. No, it's not. So, maybe, I don't know which, of course, taken from somewhere. So I have now finished telling about the descendants of the second son of Swayambhuva Manu, Uttanapad. I shall now try to relate the activities of the descendants of the Priyavrata, the first son of Swayambhuva Manu. Please hear them attentively. So, it is interesting, actually we will understand later, that although Priyavrata was the first son and Uttanapad was second, but Uttanapad was ruling and Priyavrata was not ruling, because he was actually meditating. And then after meditation, then later on he came and then he ruled the entire Jambudvipa, in the Bhumandal in fact. So, powerful, extremely powerful king, Priyavrata. And I think he ruled for almost one kalpa or something. He ruled the entire. The first son of Swayambhuva Manu, please hear them attentively. So, Uttanapad, we know, the Dhruv Maharaj, and there is the Uttama, right? His name. The other son of Uttanapad. One son from each of these two wives he got. No? Suniti and Suruchi, two wives. And Suniti's son was Dhruv Maharaj, and Suruchi's son was Uttama. So Uttama was killed, and his mother was also killed. And Dhruv Maharaj was trying to avenge the death of his stepmother and stepbrother. But then he was stopped because I think he was fighting the Yakshas. So anyway, why Bhagavatam is already mentioned in the beginning of Bhagavatam that Dharma Projhita Kaitavotra Parama Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Asta Shivadam Tapatrayon Mulanam Vedyam Vastavam Asta Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamani Krite Kimva Parairishvara Sadyo Hridya Varudhyate Prakritibhi Shushrushabhistat Kshanat. So, Nirmatsaranam Sada, and in another place it is said Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. So, Bhagavatam is Amalam Puranam, Vaishnavanam Priyam. Yasmin Paramahamsam. What is that? I forgot the verse. Srimad-Bhagavatam Puranam-Amalam Yad-Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyam-Ekam-Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkritam Tachrinman Supathan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchyen Nara. So Amalam Puranam, and here there is no glorification of dharma, artha, kama also, only of moksha and even bhakti. In fact, even above moksha, bhakti is the subject matter of Bhagavatam. This Chatur Purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, are still self-centered activities. Because even if I want moksha, he is very renounced, okay, he He doesn't want any materialist thing, not selfish, moksha, he is only after moksha. But he is after moksha, he wants moksha. That is still self-centeredness. He is not thinking about Krishna yet. He is thinking of his own deliverance. So only when one comes to bhakti, then the selflessness comes. Only Krishna becomes the object of interest, not me or mine. My interest. I want to enjoy this world. That is kama. And I want to renounce this world. That is moksha. Still I is the center. Whereas bhakti means Krishna has to be served. I is still there. I want to serve Krishna. So nothing for mine. So in the Amalam Puranam means this mala. Mala means contamination. Contamination of this selfishness. Sense gratification. This gratification of oneself is the mala. Contamination. Amalam Puranam means that it is completely devoid of this. If in some Puranas there are and Itihasas and even Vedas, there are Phalashrutis, which, like recently we went to one these are spiritual Phalashrutis, they are different. Vishnu Lokam Sagachati, that is different. So, but there are other Phalashrutis of Karmakandiya activities. That recently, we did some prasadam, somebody ordered some prasadam from the temple, and it was for a Satyanarayan-kathā. In North India, there is Satyanarayan-kathā, South India, there is Satyanarayan-vratam, and I thought, because I did not know, Satyanarayan, then when I came to Krishna consciousness, when somebody mentioned Satyanarayan, maybe some Narayan's, stories of, some Bhagavatam. Later on, devotees told me, Satyanarayan-kathā is all about the asatya. In the sense, of course, there is Narayan-kathā and is there, but the whole focus on in those ceremonies is, this person did this and he got a son. This person did this and he got wealth. This person did this, he got a kingdom. These kind of things. So they want those things. They are not interested in Narayan. Narayan is just a person who gives me these things. As long as he gives me, I will worship him. If he doesn't give me, I will forget about him. If my boss gives me all that money, I will worship my boss. Satya boss katha. That's all. So whatever gives me money, that is Satya for me. When somebody says Ram Nam Satya, hey, don't say that. I will die. As if it's an inauspicious thing in North India. Ram Nam Satya means, hey, nobody died. Why are you saying that? Somebody will die, then it's inauspicious. Ram Nam Satya is inauspicious. They are bloody. All asatya activities, they are very, very important. They are the most auspicious activities. No. What is said here in the Bhagavatam? You see? Tasmat sankirtanam Vishnor jaganmangalamam hasam mahatamapi kauravya vidhyaikantika nishkritam jaganmangalam. My dear King, Shukadeva Goswami said, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is able to uproot even the reactions of the greatest sins. Therefore, the chanting of the Sankirtan movement is the most auspicious activity in the entire universe. Please try to understand this so that others will take it seriously. This is the most auspicious activity. Not this karma kanda and all this going to heaven. Going to heaven is the most inauspicious activity. Most inauspicious. Oh, Swarga Prapti, Swarga Prapti. What is there in Swarga? They are regretting that they went there. The Swargavasis are regretting that they left Bharat Bhumi and went to Swarga. And Bharat Bhumi Vasis are saying, I want to go Swarga. Grass is greener on the other side, they say. Like that it is. But one is factual, one is not. Because one is speaking with realization, one is speaking without realization. The one on the earth has no realization of what is actually the aim of life. So he wants Swarga. But those who have gone to Swarga, they understand, I made a mistake. They have realized. It's like The brahmachari wants to marry. Grihastha said, don't marry her. You don't know that. No, you will never understand. No, don't marry. When he marries, then he still regrets. Because once he got into the, okay, now I understand why they said, don't go here. So like that, this Swarga is also like that. So what is there in Swarga? Let's see how beautiful Swarga is. Nandana Kanan, no? Beautiful gardens and everything. But in the gardens, what is going on? Evam lokam param vidyan nashvaram karma nirmitam satulyatisayadhamsam yathamandalavartinam. One cannot find permanent happiness even on the heavenly planets, which one can attain in the next life by ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices. Even in material heaven, the living entity is disturbed. What is that? Eternal happiness, heaven. Lived happily ever after. He lived happily never after. This is the. Even in material heaven, the living entity is disturbed by rivalry with his equals and envy of those superior to him. And since one's residence in heaven is finished with the exhaustion of pious fruitive activities, the denizens of heaven are afflicted by fear, anticipating the destruction of their heavenly life. Thus they resemble kings who, though enviously admired by ordinary citizens, are constantly harassed by enemy kings who therefore never attain actual happiness. A poor man will say, or a rich man, you see, he has all the comforts of life. The rich man is thinking, my life is miserable, my health is gone, my family is gone, everybody is after my money only. He is suffering another set of miseries, which the poor man has no idea of. He is thinking, if only I can have that wealth, all my problems will be solved. Then you ask that rich man whether his problems are solved. Another set of problems came. So Swarga Prapti, or Swarga, if I got Swarga, everything is okay. And this, we look at them, how suffering they are. And they are regretting, they are more regretting, you see, I will show you more. So, since the human form of life is a sublime position for spiritual realization, all the demigods in heaven speak in this way. How wonderful it is for these human beings to have been born in the land of Bharatvarsha. They are looking down from heaven, looking at Bharatvarsha. How fortunate these people are. We are thinking how fortunate they are. I want to be also fortunate like that. But they are saying like this. How wonderful it is for these human beings to have been born in the land of Bharatvarsha. They must have executed pious acts of austerity in the past, tapasya they have done. Or the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself must have been pleased with them. Otherwise, how could they engage in devotional service in so many ways? We demigods can only aspire to achieve human births in Bharatvarsha, to execute devotional service, but these human beings are already engaged there. You see how they are thinking. Why you may say heaven is so much devoid of bhakti? Because everybody is supposed to be devotee there, right? At least, But it's too much sense gratification. So they will actually explain why it is very disadvantageous in the heavenly planets. Same. The demigods continue. After performing the very difficult tasks of executing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, undergoing austerities, observing vows and giving charity, that means yajna, tapa, vrata, dana, all these things, pious activities we have done, after doing all this, we have achieved this position as inhabitants of the heavenly planets. But what is the value of this achievement? Here, we are certainly very engaged in material sense gratification, and therefore we can hardly remember the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. Indeed, because of our excessive sense gratification, we have almost forgotten His lotus feet. So they are saying there is a good mixture of happiness and distress, especially a good proportion of distress on the earth, which allows the people to be constantly remembering the Lord, at least praying for, mitigation of that pain or suffering. But here in the heavenly planets, we are so distracted that, we almost never are in misery, so-called. And then we never remember the Lord. Kunti Devi also said this. We will go there after this. So, continuing on, they say, a short life in the land of Bharatvarsh is preferable to a life achieved in Brahmaloka for millions and billions of years. Because even if one is elevated to Brahmaloka, he must return to repeated birth and death. A Brahma Bhoganalokan Punravartino Arjuna. Although life in Bharatvarsha in a lower planetary system is very short, one who lives there can elevate himself to full Krishna consciousness and achieve the highest perfection even in this short life by fully surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Thus one attains Vaikuntha Loka, where there is neither anxiety nor repeated birth in a material body. An intelligent person does not take interest in a place, even in the topmost planetary system, if the pure Ganges or Ganga of topics concerning the Supreme Lord's activities does not flow there. If there are not devotees engaged in service on the banks of such a river of piety, or if there are no festivals of Sankirtan Yajna to satisfy the Lord, especially since Sankirtan Yajna is recommended in the sage. So, an intelligent person will never go to a place where these things are missing. Very beautiful verse. Na yatra Vaikuntha-kathā sudhāpaga na sadhavo bhagavatāstadāśrayāh na yatra yajñesha makha-mahotsavāh suresha lokopi na vaisa sevyatam. So if there is no Vaikuntha-kathā sudhāpaga, if there is no katha of the Vaikuntha, Krishna-kathā in other words, and where there are no devotees, na sadhavo bhagavatas tadashraya to take shelter of, and when there is no yajñesha makha, when there is no sacrificial performances and festivals concerning the Supreme Lord, yajñesha, makha, so mahotsava. So where there is no Krishna-katha, where there is no devotees, where there is no festival, Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name, even if it is heaven, an intelligent person will never be interested in that place. It is worse than hell for him. So, very nice verse, in fact. Actually, we have to memorize this thing, really. So, anyway, anytime we want to go to some tourist attraction, we can remember this verse. I want to go to Switzerland, in the mountain. What is there? Na yatra Vaikuntha-kathā sudhāpaga, na sadhavo bhagavatāstadāśraya, na yatra yajñesha makha-mahotsava. So, the only way a Switzerland trip can be justified is when I go and distribute books there and preach. Go there, stand with a book bag, distribute books. We went to, in 2009, we went to South India pilgrimage. So Prabhu led us, So we went to Mayapur, Jagannath Puri, and down south, Srirangam and Varadaraj Perumal, Kanchi, and all these things went. We went to Rameshwaram also. So we were actually moving, we were traveling in the night, seeing everything in the day, traveling in the night, like that almost. Very few days we actually stayed up in a temple, ashram. Sometimes we had to actually put up in a hotel as well, but just for staying. So, we went to Rameshwaram, we had 2 days. So, first day we saw everything. Second day Prabhu said, go out, distribute books. So, we actually, Prabhu, when we were traveling, we had a certain, quantity of one suitcase full of books only. So, went there, Tamil, they speak Tamil. But people of all over India, they come there. It's a Char Dham, right? Char Dham, famous. So, when they distribute books, then we had to cook, for prasadam for all the devotees. He asked us to go to the sabji mandi, go to the vegetable market, beg with the, what is it? Basta, this gunny bag. We took there and then we asked. Bhadrachalam also we did that. We went there to the the wholesale market, we asked. So, then at least they also will do some service, no? And of course we offered to the Lord, and then we fed all the devotees, and we had extra also, we fed others also over there. So wherever we go, we have to think of how to distribute Krishna consciousness to them. They are suffering. What is it? What is the point of going a big tour from Brahmaloka also if you go? Like the Elon Musk is trying Mars. What is he going to do there? Preach. So, wasting time. These are all wasting time. So at one point Prabhupada said this, only devotees should use aeroplane. Others all doing rascal nonsense. Moving here and there for sense gratification. Only devotees will travel and preach. These verses are there. Janasya Krishnad Vimukhasya Daivad Adharmashilasya Sudukhitasya Anugrahayeha Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardhanasya. 353. Oh my Lord, great philanthropic souls travel on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. Another verse quoted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well from Bhagavatam 10.8.4, exactly the same thing. Mahad vichalanam nirinam grihinam dina chetasam nishreyasaya bhagavan kalpatenanyatha kvachit. O my Lord, O great devotee, persons like you move from one place to another not for their own interests, but for the sake of poor-hearted grahasthas or householders. Otherwise, they have no interest in going from one place to another. And tirthi kurvanti tirthani. They make every place they go into a place of pilgrimage. An ordinary person travels to the place of pilgrimage. A devotee, he will go to hell and make it into a pilgrimage. Prabhupada went to America. New York became a place of pilgrimage now. 26 2nd Avenue. Devotees go and visit that place even now. Tompkins Square Park, the tree became glorified. Just like Malayasyeva Chandanam. Chandan, sandalwood is very, fragrant and glorious. But that Chandan was growing in Malaysia. Now palm oil. Previously it was famous for sandalwood. So in the Bhagavatam it is said Malayasyeva Chandanam. So Malaysia became famous because of Chandan. Actually the glory is of Chandan. But because Chandan came from Malaysia, Malaysia is now glorified. Prabhupada sang, that is the glorious activity. Because he sang under that tree, now the tree is glorified. Just like Krishna, that Malayasyeva Chandanam is by Kunti Devi. She said, just like Krishna takes birth in Yadava Kula. And now Yadava means glorified dynasty. Surya Vamsha, glorified dynasty. Chandra Vamsha, glorified dynasty. Because Krishna, otherwise who cares about Chandra Vamsha, Surya Vamsha and Yadu Vamsha? Nobody cares. But Krishna came there glorified. Whole dynasty, all people are glorified. But why Krishna chose to glorify them? Because they are devotees. So he wants to augment or highlight their importance. So he takes birth among them, and then now you see, we are learning about Swayambhu Manu, and one Uttanapad, another Priyavrata, and their descendants, dynasties. Why are we interested? My point was, if it's Nirmatsaranam Satam and if it's above even moksha, is Bhagavatam, why is it discussing some dynasties which is nothing but a product of sex life? Which is kama maybe, saying it is above this moksha, above bhakti only, what is going on? Some dynasties and these are not ordinary dynasties, not some, what is it? Chang clan dynasty, Ming dynasty, Yang dynasty, or in India, Mughal dynasty or some Chola dynasty. No. Of course, Pandya dynasty is glorified because they are devotees, Vaishnavas, Pandyas. So some are like that, glorified. So because of Krishna's presence. And they are devotees. What is it you were asking something? Forgot, right?
Actually, they know that standing other previously.
Who knows?
Malaysia, the history also is there.
I don't know how far there is history is recorded in Malaysia, but we have that. Okay, so that is the real activity of traveling, and so coming back, yeah. So these dynasties are all very glorious of devotees. Their activities, glorification of devotees and their activities is all related to the Lord. So, purport. Dhruva Maharaj was the son of King Uttanapad, and as far as the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj or King Uttanapad are concerned, their activities have been described up to the point of the Prachetas. Now Sri Sukadeva Goswami desires to describe the descendants of Maharaj Priyavrata. You see, in the whole dynasty, there is first of all Brahma, devotee. Swayambhumanu, devotee. Then Uttanapad, devotee, but especially devotee, glorious devotee Dhruva Maharaj. And then after him there is the Prachina Barhi. Prachina Barhi also became a devotee because of conversation with another devotee, Narad Muni. And then in the meantime, Lord Shiva, the greatest of devotees in the universe, preached to Prachetas, Prachina Barhi's sons. And they became glorious devotees. So you see how the whole dynasty is full of devotees and connection with devotees. That's why we are discussing. So they actually come into this world only for increasing the glories of the Lord. Now Sukadeva Goswami desires to describe the descendants of Maharaj Priyavrata, the first son of Swayambhuva Manu. Then 431.27. यो नारदादात्मविद्याम् अधिगम्य पुनर्महिं भुक्त्वा विभज्य पुत्रेभ्य ऐश्वरं समगात् पदम्. Although Maharaj Priyavrata received instructions from the great sage Narada, he is still engaged in ruling the earth. After fully enjoying material possessions, he divided his property among his sons. He then attained a position by which he could return home back to Godhead. Actually, he was not interested in ruling. He was brought to rule because there was nobody. So he was requested. Then he took up the service. Well, that we will learn later on. So that is Maharaj Priyavrata. I think here, sometimes some of the things you may miss. Actually, even in the first verse, let me see the Sanskrit. This is the word I wanted to. Anuvarnitaha. In the translation, we missed that point. You see, it is just, I have now finished telling about the descendants. Telling about the descendants, there is one more detail in that Sanskrit word there, and if you see in the word to word meaning, you will see this. Anuvarnitaha. What is that? Described following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. Anuvarnita. Varnita means to describe. Varnana means to describe. Description. But anuvarnita means following. Description also should be properly described. I cannot speculate and describe. I should describe as the acharyas have described. I cannot change the message. So that is the meaning of anuvarnita. So preaching must be done not in our own speculative ways, but in the way the acharyas have done it. Nowadays there is a thing in ISKCON. When Prabhupada passed some strong statements about impersonalists or materialists in general, scientists in particular, or maybe sometimes even women, some strong statements here and there. A little bit, some people will get triggered by this kind of things. Instead of trying to understand the truth, they get offended. That's because of false ego. So, but the duty of the acharya or the preacher is to just present the truth. Sometimes it may be bitter a little bit. Like if you see the statements of Bhagavatam, for the materialists, it is Very bitter. Family members are compared to jackals and sharks, monsters, thieves. Svajanakya dasubhi. Dasu means thieves. Svajanakya. Svajana means family members. Akhya means name. By the name of family members, they are actually thieves. They are writing home sweet home there, and then Brahma is saying this is a prison house. Karagraham graham. Our graham is actually Karagraham. It's a prison house. Usually prison is locked from outside. We will lock the prison from inside. Krishna's Maya is so powerful that Krishna doesn't need to lock us. We will lock ourselves. And best security lock. Nobody can come inside. That is so these are very and people, materialist people who are ambitious, they are compared to dogs, camels, hogs, asses, frogs and goats. Nowadays goat is a greatest of all time. GOAT. Greatest of all time. Like Sachin Tendulkar is a goat, they say. Yeah, these people are actually goats. If they are not interested in Krishna, they are animals. Greatest goat of all time. Because there is a bakra, when a goat goes in the line of slaughtering, that goat in front is getting slaughtered. This goat is happily eating grass, as if nothing ever happened. If a human sees or any other animal sees, they will see the other one and they will start panicking. Goat has zero panic. Panic. That doesn't mean he is a dhira. He is an idiot. Dhira also has no panic. A devotee has no panic about death or nothing, because he has transcended this birth and death. He is in Krishna consciousness and he is completely sure where is he going to go and what is the purpose of life and what he is supposed to do even when death comes. And is perfectly prepared. And that's why he is. Two classes of people are not afraid of the exams. Two classes of students. One is the absolute prepared one. You throw me whatever question you want, I will reply. The other one, I don't care. I fail, I be a robber in my life, I don't care. So that two people are bindas. So these kind of bindas people are goats, bakras. Perfect candidates for Maya, because Maya doesn't need to chase them. They will stand there only, they will not run away. By seeing all the, this is called Pashyan Apina Pashyati. You see, they see, but still they don't see. This is the category, foolish people. And these kind of strong words are used in Bhagavatam. See, Dehapatya Kalatradishu Atma Sainyeshu Asatsvapi Tesham Pramatvam Nidhanam Pashyannapi na Pashyati. Pashyan means to see. They see, but still they don't see. You see. And they have persons devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life. Being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children and wife. They have too much faith in the family situation and societal situation, insurance and army and everything. Atma Sainyeshu, Sainya. Sena means army. They think this army will protect me. My family, my friends, my lawyer, my doctor, my country, my army, my country's army. I will protect. Police, protection. But these are fallible soldiers. They themselves will die. Although sufficiently experienced, so Pashyannapi, they are seeing, they still do not see their inevitable destruction. Another verse is Ahanyahani bhutani gachantiha yamalayam seshas thavarmichanti kimascharya matah param. See, Yamaraj once asked Maharaj Yudhishthir, what is the most wonderful thing within this world? Maharaj Yudhishthir replied in Mahabharata Vanaparva, 313 chapter, 116 class. Ahanyahani bhutani gachantiha yamalayam seshas thavaram icchanti kimascharya matah param. Hundreds and thousands of living entities meet death at every moment. But a foolish living being nonetheless thinks himself deathless and does not prepare for death. This is the most wonderful thing in the world, in this world. Pashyannapi na pashyati. Foolish people, goats. So these kind of animals, Men are compared to these kind of animals. All kinds of animals. Bees, flies, house flies, worm in the stool. They are compared to all these kind of. It's very, it's not very pleasant language, right? If somebody calls me worm in the stool, I will fight back. But Bhagavatam is telling like this. So, why? Because it is completely only speaking the truth. Amalam Puranam. It will not give this euphemistic, pampering. Oh yes, whatever you are doing is good. Do some more, do some yajnas and go to heaven now. This is not the purpose of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is saying, other Karmakanda section of the Vedas, there are, yes, you do this, you go to Swarga. And some foolish followers of the Vedas, they are called Vedavadarataha. They think that Vedas means a process by which we can go to heaven and enjoy life. That's their understanding of Vedic literature. They are called Vedavadarata. They strictly follow very rigidly all the rules. Brahman, like all the mudras and everything. Pakka. But their whole thing is to go to heaven and enjoy that. Foolish people. They are very good at pronunciation also. Om Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshaha Sahasrapat. So everything nicely chanting. A meter doesn't go mistake, even one syllable. Where they are going? Heaven. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam shine punyam artyalokam vishanti. They will go up and come down. What is this? So, that's why tasyeva heto prayateta kovida nalabhyate yatra. What is that? Puman upari adha. Let's take that verse. You see this? Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.18. Tasyeva heto prayateta kovido nalabhyate yad bhramatam upari adha. Upari adha. Upari means upar, up. Adha means down. Going up and down, if you see one person here in the staircase, running up and down, 7th floor down, what is he doing? Mad fellow. So, Brahmatam Uparyatha, we are doing this. From Abrahma Bhuvanal Lokam Puranavartin also. From Brahma Loka to Patal Loka, we are running up and down. But Prayatita Kovida. Kovida means one who is actually intelligent. He will not do this stupidness. Brainless wandering around. No. Na labhyate. He will not. Tal labhyate dukkhavad anyatah sukham. Kalena sarvatra gabhiranam. So he will transcend this. That is what he is after. He is after a place where he will never return to this place where Kalena sarvatra gabhiranamhasa is dukkhavad anyatah sukham. Just like nobody prays, please give me some misery. Nobody. But misery comes. So, if misery is coming without praying, so happiness also will come without praying. What is the use of praying? Why should I pray for happiness? That's true actually. That's true. That is not the reason one should pray to God. So, so why I should follow anything? Whatever karmanasaram will come. But we should not be stuck here, no? So, Gabhira Ramhasa, subtle progress. So, you see, persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet Brahmaloka down to the lowest planet Patal. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. So, Anuvarnitaha means to describe according to the ways of the parampara. So the parampara in the Vaishnava Sampradaya, how are these topics described? They are described so as to promote the Nivritti Marga. There is Pravritti Marga and Nivritti Marga. Pravritti Resha Bhutanam Nivrittistu Mahaphala. Actually, there is another similar verse. Manu Samhita, Pravrittiresha Bhutanam Nivrittistu Mahapara. We have many tendencies in this material world, but in human life, one is meant to learn how to curb those tendencies. What are those? Meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex. You see, although fruitive religious activities are very much popular among the conditioned souls, actual perfection of life is achieved when one gives up all fruitive endeavor. So even if we discuss Narayan Katha, it is not like the karmis do, like Satyanarayan Katha, and then to get Shubh, Labh and all these things. You are not after this. What Shubh is there in the material world? It is a place of Ashubh. Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Krishna has certified and we want Sukh in it. How foolish we are. Krishna is already, he is the creator. He says that this is the abode of unhappiness, misery, and it is temporary. We want permanent happiness in this world. Look at us. We want permanent happiness in a place where it is temporary and unhappy. This is our foolishness. We are very adamant. No, I will find it. I can do it. Motivated. Some idiotic motivational speakers are coming and encouraging them. Yes, you can do it. And now devotees have become idiots and motivating. Gaur Gopal. So this is the problem. This is the problem. The Pravrittiresha, everybody is already, stuck here. Hey, what is the use of encouraging him? So let's look at those verses. 5:17, right? Kastam swayam tad abhijño vipaschid avidyayamantare vartamanam drishtva punastam sagrinah kubuddhim prayojayet utpathagam yathandham. If someone is ignorant and addicted to the path of samsara, how can one who is actually learned, merciful and advanced in spiritual knowledge engage him in fruitive activity and thus further entangle him in material existence? A person who is advanced in spiritual knowledge, why he should encourage a materialist to go even further materialistic? No, he should stop him. Just like the example is given here. If a blind man is walking down the wrong path, how can a gentleman allow him to continue on his way to danger? How can he approve this method? Yes, let him get hit by the truck. Let him die. I want to see him burst to pieces. Is that a gentleman? He is not gentle. He is a ruffian. So how can he approve this method? No wise or kind man can allow this. So we cannot promote this nonsense. Pravrittiresha bhutanam nivrittistu mahaphala. So this is actually the full verse, Manu Samhita verse 11.5.11 purport. Namamsa bhakshane dosho namadye na cha maithune pravrittiresha bhutanam nivrittistu mahaphala. It may be considered that meat eating, intoxication and sex indulgence are natural propensities of conditioned souls, and therefore such persons should not be condemned for their activities. But unless one gives up such sinful activities, there is no possibility of achieving the actual perfection of life. So what is it saying here? So these are natural tendencies: meat eating, intoxication and sex indulgence. So one should not be condemned for these activities. So that's why Vedas, there are, reformatory processes. For example, if I want to eat meat, I have to offer it to Kali, and that too outside the city, and only goat, no other animal, and it should not be killed in the halal method, which is slit open the throat and let the animal suffer and let the blood run out. No, Jhatka method, which is in one stroke he has to kill the animal in front of Kali, and he has to say before killing that he has to say Mamsah khadati iti mamsah. So he is basically agreeing to the terms and conditions of the contract that now I am killing you, you have the right to kill me. So then he kill in your next life. So he's saying this, he must kill and eat. So he is not condemned. Oh, you cannot. Oh, you are eating meat. You are a rascal. No, you are eating meat. Okay, you eat meat in this way. If you really want to eat meat, once a month only. That too, Amavasya only. not every day. There's so much restriction. So people are interested in sex life. So okay, don't go around like a pig and dog, impregnating everyone. Here, have marriage and progeny and responsibility for that progeny. Train them in Krishna consciousness. So these tendencies. So there is Krishna is so kind that although we have these materialistic tendencies, sense gratificatory tendencies, he has created a system where we can dovetail those propensities in Krishna's service. So that even with like demigods, why are they there? They have a controlling tendency. They want to control. They are not pure devotees. They are devotees but not pure. A pure devotee has zero interest even in the post of Brahma. He has zero interest. He doesn't want to control. But for Krishna's sake, he can become Brahma. He can rule over the entire universe with full religious principles. That he can do. But he does not personally have any aim to control the whole thing. No. He is not interested in any overlordship. But for Krishna's sake, he'll take up. So, but the demigods are there because although they are devotees, they have this controlling tendency. So Krishna gave them opportunity. Okay, you govern Indra. You take in charge of the water supply for the universe. PUB department. Water supply, you take it. Electricity department, light. Okay, sun, you take care. And of course, they became pure devotees after getting instructed by, especially Vivaswan, sun god, is a pure devotee. Indra, maybe not. Indra always does some funny things. But next Indra is going to be Bali Maharaj. He will be a pure devotee. So, that post is occupied by sometimes a pure devotee, but sometimes not. Like this Brahma is a pure devotee, our Brahma, and we are from the Brahma Sampradaya. But in some cases, Brahma is not a pure devotee. He is materially attached, and then he will slowly descend. Until we have, in fact, it is said when we come from spiritual world, first when we fall down as Brahma. You want to become Lord? Okay, here, one universe for you. Krishna gave. And we messed up, and now we ended up as worm in the stool. And now we are trying to find ourselves, who we are, where am I? So, they are not condemned, they are given these reformatory processes by which they can slowly elevate. Instead of just go to hell, full-fledged. No. Because otherwise, you see how now people are eating? Every day, morning, afternoon, night, meat. Meat must be there in the menu. This is, papisthaya durachara deva brahmana nindaka apathya bhojanas tesham akale maranam dhruvam. Untimely death is assured for those who eat anything and everything. Anything that moves, they will eat. This kind of mentality. And they say they are very daring. There was one clip somebody sent me. In this, this reality shows on the TV, X Factor or something. They used to have X Factor? Yeah, I think. So there used to be this, so one episode, there was this person, they put some things on the bowl and he has to eat. Horrible things. You will never want to even touch. Even a meat eater wouldn't touch if he knows what it is. So they say, okay, this is the eye of a cow. Eat it. And this person wanted to show he is daring and macho. He put it inside and ate it. What is to be feared and what is not to be feared, we must know. What is binding, what is liberating, we must know. This verse. They want to show that they have no fear. Actually, what they are showing is they have no brain. So, you see, pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya akarye bhaya abhaye bandham moksham cha ya vetti buddhihi sapartha satviki. There is an English proverb also. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. This is the meaning. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, that understanding is established in the mode of goodness. So one who knows things as they are, and he knows, okay, if I go here, I will become sinful, so I will fear that. A devotee fears Maya, in the sense that he is cautious, he is alert. Just like if you are driving, you have to fear loss of control of your car. A person is constantly in fear when he is driving, subconsciously actually, because a little inattention, he is holding the hand of a steering wheel with his hand. If he is so-called fearless, which is actually foolish, he will just phone something. Now Tesla is going to do that for everybody. So one day, if somebody hits something, then he is out of control. Somebody suddenly, satellites all just some, what is this called? There are weapons even now that can completely jam your electronics. There are weapons. And China has them, US has them. So, I am driving a Tesla and war, how they start war? Okay, a full country full of Teslas, okay, fine, good. Now, they jam this satellite communication and everything hits everything. Complete collision in the entire country. So, anything can be done. So, the point is, we are thinking we are getting smarter. We are actually outsourcing all our freedom to systems which can completely ruin us. That's why it's called smartphone. Phone has become smarter, we have become foolish. We used to be able to calculate multiplication and addition just in our heads, even relatively big numbers, although we are not mathematicians. Even phone numbers, we used to remember 10-digit numbers full. Where now? So, we are agreeing to become foolish and outsourcing the smartness to a phone. And the phone is a Maya's agent. Maya is smart actually. So, she is using the phone, keeping us like a fool, looking at a screen for hours. Which person will just like that all day? But we are doing. Maya is smart. This is a smartphone. Yes, it knows how to control us. So, but see, what is feared, what is to be feared, what is not to be feared. We should know. There are things that are to be feared, and that is Maya. And only with Krishna's shelter we can be fearless. On our own, I cannot say, Prabhu, I am confident, Prabhu, now Maya won't touch me. That is already the beginning of Maya's touch. Because pride goes before fall. The pride itself is the symptom of Maya. It's not that the upcoming fall is the symptom of Maya, no. That is just a visible result. Just like when you get a fever, the symptom of heat in the body comes later. The virus has already entered before. So the virus effect has already started, just that we won't immediately see 1-2 days later the fever, everything, temperature, loss of appetite, diarrhea, whatever. What is that? So that thing has already started. So pride, when you have pride, Prabhu, now I am confident. I have conquered Maya. That's it. That means he is so tightly in the grip of Maya that he doesn't even know that he is in the grip of Maya. Krishna will be laughing only. Maya will be laughing. So we have to be aware of what is religious principles or not. So here it is said, pravrittiresha bhutan. So not to be condemned, but we have to be regulated until the point of complete nil. If somebody is agreeable, okay, I will not eat meat, okay, that is the most best thing. Not that, no, Prabhu. Vedas say, those who want to eat meat, they can eat meat like this, no? Offered to Kali and all this. Why you are saying no? There is a lower religious principle for those who are uncontrolled, solely to control them. But if you are agreeable to control yourself, then why not take it up? Why? So, if you start in the slow method, maybe in one lifetime you may come to the point of no meat eating and no religious. But why not do it now? Anyway, I am going to come there. Why should time be wasted? So, but unless one gives up, so that's why Vedas seemingly sometimes encourage. But actually they do not. There is no possibility of achieving the actual perfection of life. So this is anuvarnitaha. When you describe, when somebody is describing, this is what I was saying. So when one is describing Krishna's pastime, it should be in the way how the acharyas who strongly advocated for Nivritti Marga, you have to follow that method. But now in ISKCON there is this new thing. They are saying that when Prabhupada passed his strong remarks over, it is, Prabhupada is very powerful, he can say that, we should not say that. Prabhupada is very powerful, therefore he can say that kind of strong words. We are not. So, we cannot say that impersonalists are rascals. No. We cannot. They are seemingly glorifying Prabhupada, but actually they are insulting him. Because whether we are qualified or not, we have to just repeat. But of course, we can do it tactfully because, yes, but still, the mention should be there that these are rascals. That they are wrong. That has to be clearly mentioned, not that we need to artificially glorify them for what? What for? No need. So, where fault is there, just sharp, go there and dissect it and completely expose that. No compromise should be there in the preaching. And they want to be politically correct now. When you are politically correct, when you don't stand for the truth, because what is this politically correct thing actually? What is this? Because it's a device. Politics is a device where people can be kept in ignorance so that they can be controlled. So you give them a narrative which promotes that being controlled as the most glorified thing. So that people will feel glorified being controlled and fed some complete lie. So they want to be comfort them with lies, keep the truth hidden. The other day Mahaprabhu and myself, we were going to the mall. We were buying this wheelchair for Prabhu, because if at all he wants to use it, move here and there. Now he can walk, of course, but anyway, it was like a recuperating kind of chair. You can sit or lean back or can be pushed around. So we went to this mall to buy that. And then Mahaprabhu was saying that, see, Singapore looks very glamorous and very nice this and that. That's only because all the sufferings are hidden away from the population. The old age home, you see, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, and all these 4 we can see in a hospital, right? The hospitals are a place of Janma, Mrityu, Jara and Vyadhi. And then there are of course old age homes which see the prolonged version of Jara, old age. And all these things are hidden away. You don't see a poor man, of course you do see sometimes rag pickers, but mostly no. But they are there actually. But they give them housing. There is, of course that's a good thing about, the government must do that. But the thing is, it is hidden away. Generally if you come and see, but if in India, you step out of the airport, maybe the first 2 kilometers will be green trees along the road and blacktop roads and after that, the real city starts. Kachada pura, on the side of the road and the people begging there and fighting with dogs and pigs, for some scraps of food there. And then here the slums, everything will start after 2 kilometers into the city. Drain is open and everybody is suffering. So sufferings are very visible in India. Here, it is hidden. So what is good then? Should we keep suffering visible? That's not the point. But the thing is, they cover and then promote this artificial glamour of the material world. So material world is Maya is like that. She will show the beauty of this material world, but does not show that how much suffering there is. Like if you see a greenery, the scenery is so nice, right? Waterfalls, like greenery, and it's beautiful. But what is it made of? Rocks, fine, okay. But grass, for example, the greenery is by grass and trees, right? Who are those souls there? One of the most downtrodden souls of the entire universe are there in there. Because first is a fish. The waterfalls fall into the stream, this creek of water, beautiful. Inside who are there? Fish. Jalajan avalakshani. The most downtrodden of all species, fish. And then there is trees next. completely lusty and so lusty that they are completely devoid of consciousness, standing there naked. So actually they are made of completely beings of complete ignorance, but Krishna is so artistic that he can put them all together and make a beautiful scene. And we are enamored by that. Zero idea how much horror actually there is all around us, because those living entities are in such pain. Forests, we need forests, yeah, but we can't avoid also. Yeah, it should be like that. That's the way of the material world. But just that we have to become aware of how Krishna has created this prison house of material world so nicely that we really want to stay here because it's so beautiful. They say life is beautiful. Motivational talk. Life is beautiful. Love yourself. Be as selfish as possible. Okay? What is it? I mean, so this kind of nonsense, they do not know actually there is a lovable object, Krishna. And they love Krishna, that is when the real thing happens. And then we have to see the stark nakedness of this material world. So sometimes when incidents happen, like our loved one separates, dies for some reason, or whatever happens, or we lose our wealth, business loss, whatever. These are moments that are actually truthful, to be cherished. Because then Krishna is showing us, hey, wake up from the dream, you are in a dreamland, creating all this phantasmagoria of, some dream world. Come out, look at the real truth. Nothing is going to be permanent, everything is going to be a big mess. It is a mess that you have not realized. That perfect example is of this deer. You see this 429:53. Kshudram charam sumanasam sharane mithitva raktam shadam ghriganasam asulubdha karnam agre vrikana sutripo viganayayantam prishthe mrigam mrigayalubdha kabana bhinnam. See, very beautiful. Very beautiful verse also, right? Very nice tune and everything. Let's look at how horror is this. Okay, my dear king, please search out that deer who is engaged in eating grass in a very nice flower garden along with his wife. Romantic. That deer is very much attached to his business and is enjoying the sweet singing of the bumblebee. He's in a concert. He's in a nice concert. Bumblebees are nice singing, and he has his wife and romantic garden and the sweet singing of the bumblebees. Just try to understand his position. He is unaware that before him is a tiger, which is accustomed to living at the cost of another's flesh. Behind the deer is a hunter who is threatening to pierce him with sharp arrows. Thus the deer's death is imminent. But he is what? Like that bakra. Bindas. Completely, oblivious to the whole thing. You see? So, having explained the metaphor, now his purport. Again, this is not very pleasant language. Please, what is that? Caution, unpleasant language ahead. Okay, come. My dear king, woman who is very attractive in the beginning, but in the end very disturbing, is exactly like the flower, which is attractive in the beginning and detestable at the end. With woman, the living entity is entangled with lusty desires and he enjoys sex just as one enjoys the aroma of a flower. He thus enjoys a life of sense gratification from his tongue to his genitals, and in this way the living entity considers himself very happy in family life. United with his wife, he remains always absorbed in such thoughts. He feels great pleasure in hearing the talks of his wife and children, which are like the sweet humming of bumblebees that collect honey from flower to flower. He forgets that before him is time, like the tiger, which is taking away his lifespan with the passing of day and night. Time is like the tiger, which is taking away his lifespan with the passing of day and night. He does not see the gradual diminishing of his life, nor does he care about the superintendent of death who is trying to kill him from behind, the hunter. Just try to understand this. You are in a precarious position and are threatened from all sides. Beautiful horror. Right? This is how Krishna is so, Maya is so illusory. Horror movie looks like a beautiful romantic movie. How Krishna is so powerful. See? So, woman means, here of course, lust. For the male mentality in this material world is that I want to be an enjoyer. Male means in Sanskrit Purusha, and female is Prakriti or Shakti. So the Prakriti or nature or Shakti, energy, is to be enjoyed by the Purusha. So we sing every morning Govindam Adi Purusham. The real enjoyer is Govinda. But his name is Govinda because he is the giver of enjoyment to others, giver of pleasure to the senses. So we are enjoyers then? He is the giver of our enjoyment? So we are the real enjoyer? No. Although he is the giver of enjoyment, actually he is the real enjoyer. And when we cooperate with his enjoyment, we will enjoy. And we are now having this male mentality, whether one is a woman or a man. He or she wants to enjoy. And that is a male mentality, Purusha. We are supposed to be Prakriti, we are female, in the sense that we are supposed to cooperate with the Lord's enjoyment, who is the Adi Purusha. He is the enjoyer, we are supposed to be enjoyed by him, and in that cooperation of Krishna's enjoyment, our enjoyment is to be found. But we wanted to be separate enjoyers, now I want to be Purusha on my own, and then I will find my own Prakriti. So, whether a man or a woman in this world, he is actually having this male mentality. And he is trying to enjoy. When they say, I love you in this material romantic relationship here, it's I enjoy in your company. That's what actually it means. Because they say, I love you to their partner and they say, I love chicken. So are they kissing the chicken? No, they're eating. So what does that love means then? It means I don't actually care about you. I enjoy in your presence or I enjoy eating you, so I love. Love means like that only. It's actually lust. So it's all lust. There is no love here. Atmendriya priti vancha tare boli kam. Krishnendriya priti vancha dhare prem nam. Prema and kam are two different words, and there is no prema in this material world, only kam. Everyone is self-centered. So the point is, I am coming with a male mentality, and another person who is my so-called partner also has a male mentality. He or she also wants to enjoy. So this is where actually homosexuality started from. Because we are actually, what is homosexuality? The woman is thinking she is man. Man is thinking sometimes he is woman. They are confused about their identities. They have a problem. So we are similarly actually female. Krishna is a real male. Govindam Adi Purusha. We wanted to be male. This is a spiritual homosexuality problem. We have a problem. And here we are coming with a male mentality. And then one of them becomes female, one of them becomes male body, and that way. But the mentality is male. So in this way, actually female, we are both, husband and wife for example. What are they? Both of them are Jivatma, right? So they are Prakriti of Krishna. So both of them are female, but they got together now. Sorry, but this is the actual fact. This is actually spiritually speaking, it's like homosexuality. Both are female, got together, but both are having male mentality. Again, that is another layer of homosexuality. So, the real thing, Rasalila means where Krishna is the only male, all the gopis dance with him. That's the difference. Rasalila is the exact opposite of what is going on in the material world. Although it seemingly, is like a pervert nature, like one man dancing with so many girls. But actually it's the exact opposite. Rasalila. Rasalila, no man is allowed in that whole arena of Rasalila. Only gopis. The only enjoyer is Krishna and everybody else is enjoyed by him. And of course, every single pastime of the devotee is like that. Although Hanuman, Ramduta Hanuman, he is very muscular and everything, manly, right? The most macho person you can ever find. But he is actually acting in the role of a Prakriti, female, because he is cooperating for Ram's enjoyment. His thing is to serve. Female nature is to serve. Male nature is to receive service. Sevya and Sevaka. Bhagavan, Krishna is Sevya, worthy of worship. And Sevak, we are actually supposed to render service. The female tendency is to render service. That's why you see in the aeroplane they put female there. Service. Males are there, but people like female. So, but the thing is, we all are female actually by spiritual constitution. So anyway, now you see, so in our life there will be extreme miserable situations sometimes, which is very, very miserable. But some are not so, and some are in fact almost devoid of misery, right? But actually, whenever there is an absence of miserable condition, we have to remember this verse, that actually misery is all around us, just that we are like this blind deer who is captivated by this romantic scene, which is actually a trap. Why? It's like this. If we are having a nice time with our family and everything, there's no danger and everything. But actually what is happening there? Our attachment for our family is increasing. And that is creating a dangerous position, because when I eventually come to the point of death, all these memories are going to affect my remembrance. So the more I have memorable moments with people who I am attached with, or the animals sometimes, because wallpaper dog, here dog, some people have like that, their own dog. So whatever I am attached to, these attachments are, when there is no seeming danger, they are actually a trap, luring us. So when death actually comes, then we think of all these memorable moments, and in that grief, in complete meditation of our attachment, we will die. And we are guaranteed another birth in this material world. So, all the so-called happy situations are just luring us into a trap. Now, this is a very, very, very pessimistic viewpoint of the material world. But that's exactly what it is. There's no need of optimism in the material world, because it is there's no need of optimism in the prison. Oh, no, A-class prison is better. No, at least we will have some company. Here I am solitary confinement. No. Associating with other prisoners, what is the use? Real intelligence is, I want to get out. So I should be having as much pessimistic viewpoint about the prison as possible to motivate myself to come out. And Krishna, for a devotee, he will actually help. He will give some miserable condition. Here, take. Don't forget. So Krishna is every time sending reminders to us. The other day only I was saying to another devotee that as we grow in life, in our age, the visits to the hospitals increase. Firstly, it starts when we are when we are children, who cares? We are playing only, we don't know what is hospital. But when we are at least in youth or a little bit middle-aged, we will go to the hospital. Maybe still not for our health, but our parents. MC. That is a different. In the young age, this is the hospital is a joke. I'll get my medical certificate and show them, okay, fine, I have. But in our middle age, then we will go hospitals to take our elders and see their misery. Second hand, we experience their misery. Then eventually, when we become old, first hand we experience. And when we die. So it's increasing only the visits to the hospital as we grow in age. With every decade, the visits to the hospital. And even for ourselves, we become more conscious of health checkup and health in general. That's why it is said, what is that? Shankaracharya, Mohamudgara. That verse he says, Balastavat krida sakta, Tarunastavat taruni sakta, Vriddhastavat chinta sakta, Parabrahmani kopina sakta. Beautiful verse. He said, Balastavat krida sakta. So in the childhood, attracted to krida, playfulness, playing. Tarunastavat taruni sakta. When in the youth, he is attracted to the female youth, sexual attraction. Vriddhastavat chinta sakta. So when you become old, vriddha, then chinta sakta. Everything is anxious. We become anxious of our health, we become anxious for our families, because we think we are the wise people who have lived life and we are supposed to be the advisors to the next generation, but the next generation absolutely doesn't care about us. I think this old man, he's has his old-fashioned ways, I know how to do. Nobody cares. But he is thinking he is the advisor. Without him, the family cannot go. And when they don't pay attention, it hurts him. And then eventually he will lose his dear one, and he will become even more chinta. And then his own health will dwindle. He will be more chinta. And Chanakya Pandit also said, in old age, we will worry about health. Parabrahmani kopina sakta. So in childhood, youthhood and old age, we are attracted to this and these things. Parabrahmani kopina sakta. No attraction for Parabrahma, Krishna. We are distracted with everything in life. In some ways, we are distracted by happiness. Krida sakta, playing only, sports, this, or just playing among with friends. Happiness, distracted by happiness, bewilderment. And tarunastava taruni sakta, romantic, even more happiness, so called. Distraction. Vriddhastava chinta sakta, parabrahman kopya sakta. Therefore, Krishna says, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shita ushna sukha dukkha agamapayano nitya stam stitikshasva bharata. Tolerate not only the misery but also the happiness. It's easier to tolerate misery than happiness. No? Yes, spiritually speaking. Because in misery, you may think of Krishna, we can go to a temple, pray for something, So, but we are still, of course, attached to that. Tolerate means what actually here? Tolerate means not just to, in Hindi we say sahana. Sahana, that is not, we are actually talking about. Sahan. We are not talking about that. Because to tolerate misery means, actually tolerate means not be distracted by. That is the meaning of tolerance. Dhira means not be distracted by. Not just, I feel misery, but I have to somehow tolerate and get on with my life. That is not tolerance. What is life actually? So misery will throw us away from the path of life of Krishna consciousness. And happiness also throws us away. But happiness throws us away far worse than misery. We fall way out of orbit in happiness than in misery. In misery, actually, we get closer to the orbit, our real path. But when in happiness, we just orbit shift, completely eject from the from the path. Yeah. So because we are completely lost then. So tolerance is to not be distracted. Just like when you are going to work, you have to tolerate sometimes hot weather. Sometimes it is rainy, sometimes it's too cold, but still you have to tolerate whatever, cover yourself or do whatever, umbrella or what, you just go there and work. So that, what is that actually? Tolerance, because you have a goal, you have to do that, your work. And therefore these things, you are not getting distracted. Oh, today is too cold, I don't want to go. That is getting distracted. Oh, today too hot, I will just stay. Or too rainy, I will not go. When children, we want to give all these excuses. Ma, today is raining, I don't want to go to school. Then mom will beat two slaps and then we'll go to school. So what is that? Tolerance. We are learning tolerance. So we have to not be distracted by that. Things will come. Situations will come. But am I forgetting Krishna? I forgot? Okay, finish. Maya won. In successfully distracting us. So every moment is actually a fight with Maya. She is fighting to get our distraction away from Krishna. Attention away from Krishna. So we have to not forget that. That's why when somebody passes away, there is Gita Path immediately. So at least when somebody passes away, Gita Path. When they're living, there was no Gita Path. At least now start. So because at that time, actually Gita Path should be there all the time. But particularly when somebody passes away, again Gita Path should be there. Or at least association, hearing in the association basically. Because that will again remind us of all the things that we have already learned, but it is a bit unsettled now because of the situation, so I need to come back to that. Not for, Gita Path is not for just, the departed soul will have some happiness. What about the not departed souls who are sitting there in the class, in the Path, Gita Path? What about them? There is no auspiciousness for them. It is only auspicious for the departed. He cannot hear. He will have auspiciousness if the person sitting here take the message seriously and become devotees. Pranam punati sakulam natu bhurimana. If they take up, these people who are sitting there with their ears open and soul inside their bodies, not with that dead body where the soul, ears are there but no soul. These people who have soul in their body, if they listen and take up this path, then their ancestors will all have. But bringing auspiciousness to them is not the primary thing. This Gita Path is to first of all control our mind. Those who are here who cannot manage the loss of their loved one, manage their mind first. Focus back on track. Don't be distracted. So the whole point of that is to enable us to stay away from the distraction of that misery. And not just forget the misery like an intoxicant does. When somebody, movies, famous scene, the hero tries for the heroine and the heroine's bab, he will put some obstacles and rowdies, and then suddenly, or she herself will reject him or something, and then he will go and intoxicate. So that is what, trying to forget the misery. But here, Gita Path is not to forget the misery. Face it head on. Don't run away from the problem of life. When this situation is there, don't try to forget it. Oh, it's okay, he's in a better. Some people, those who don't know anything, no, it's okay, he's in a better place. How you know? Why are you telling me? You saw, is it? You saw he's in a better place. He's enjoying. You saw. Why are you telling me? These are all, some words. They may have good intentions, but they do not know facts. A devotee may say he's in a better place. Why? Because he's confident that you are a devotee, your father will be in a better place. Prabhu, his father recently passed away. But we can be sure he's in a better place. Why? We are quoting Bhagavatam. We are not simply saying. But for the non-devotee, you can't say the same. What we can say to them? You chant. That's the only way you can actually do something for your departed soul. So, we are 10, 15? I haven't even gone to... Okay, we are done. We are not going to continue. So, I will change the title of the song, of the verse. Just put 26 only. So, yeah. So we have to be very... Did we only finish one verse?
Only one verse.
Okay, I think we'll stop here. I think any questions or comments on this topic? Vrajagishwar Prabhu is saying in the comments, the case where a Tesla car couldn't detect the trailer truck in front and the driver was asleep. This thing happened actually a few years ago. Tesla, because auto driving, this guy was so confident of this auto driving feature, he started the car, slept, completely slept. He thought, okay, everything is... So, in a very, very rare incident, which usually it has senses, senses, but for some reason, and the explanation by Tesla after a thorough investigation, after months of investigation, was that Probably. The reason was that the white truck resembled white sky, cloud or something. Sorry. It did not detect as there was an object. What about the proximity sensor? I don't know what have happened, but did not detect. Went, hit the truck in full speed. On the spot dead. And the person was completely sleeping. Outsourced everything to the technology. You were asking something, bro?
Spiritual world, you told about in material world we have donation plans, under ocean is the lowest. Spiritual world also we have fish, we have trees, they are all the same level.
Yes. There the variety is not because of modes. Here the varieties of living entities are because of the modes. How much predominance of a particular mode is in that body. Whereas there are no three modes there. Then what is the cause of variety there? The cause of variety there is the rasovaisaha, rasa. Rasovaisaha. So the relationship that this living entity has with Krishna, that relationship is the cause for the variety. Whatever is manifested here out of the three modes of material nature is a reflection of the original variety, but reflected within three modes, because of three modes. Brajkishore is saying, comment, they said devotees are pessimists who have lost the ability to appreciate the Lord's creation. So, completely false. Because, people say, so the people are false. In fact, there was one incident where, we had this fair. We were distributing books in a bazaar, Deepavali bazaar, 1 month. COVID closed for COVID, but before that. So 1 year, I had this conversation with a Muslim gentleman. And he asked me, so are you married? I said no. So why? No, I want to be brahmachari. And then I explained what is brahmacharya and celibacy and all. Then he said, you are not a devotee. You are not actually a religious person. Why? No, you are not appreciating God's creation. He created your genitals for a reason, and you are not using them. You are insulting God. His conclusion was that. They do not know that there is a higher use. Actually, there is a wisdom bite of our lectures, the higher use of semen. So, urdhvaretaha, for a person who does not let the semen flow downward, it will actually help energize his entire existence, even health-wise and also spiritually. It becomes very sharp. How people used to be Shrutathara. You know what is Shrutathara? There was no need of pustak because everything was in the mastak. That era, when there was just, no need of books. Vyasadeva wrote for Kali Yuga population. Some Satyayuga through Dwapar Yuga, no need of books. Kali Yuga only books. Because why? His memory has gone down. We have exabytes of memory actually here. What? Who? No, okay, so brahmachari also there is Upakurvana brahmachari and Naishtik brahmachari. Upakurvana is one who eventually marries, stays as brahmachari for some time. But even in household life there is extreme, restraint. He did not go and populate, Who was population? This Daksha, Prajapati. Prajapatis are made for populating the world. But that's why they have to be extremely sahayajñah prajah srishtva purovacha prajapati anena prasavishyadham meshavostvishta kamadhuk. Chapter 3, text 10 of Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna created Prajapatis, he sahayajñah prajah srishtva. So Krishna created praja and yajna. In fact, yajna was created before the praja. Because it's Sanatana Dharma. Before the bodies were introduced into this universe, the Sanatana Dharma Yajna principles were introduced first. when Brahma was born, he heard the word tapa and he executed austerity. A newly born baby, if he hears the word tapa, he wouldn't understand anything. But he was newly born, but he understood. Krishna gave him the intelligence to understand those two words, two letters also that he said. Who will understand? How you know the dictionary? You show me dictionary. No, there was no dictionary. He just heard the word tapa and he started tapasya. Brahma. How did he understand? Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye. From within the heart, Krishna educated him. So, devotees are pessimists. So, they are pessimistic in the matter of sense gratification, and that will strengthen their renunciation. People in general are optimistic about the material world, but they are optimistic about a hopeless situation. If I know I am investing in a enterprise which is going to guarantee a zero return and a complete loss of my investment, and if I have hope that I am going to increase my riches to unlimited levels and I am going to become this crorepati or millionaire or billionaire, I am being too optimistic. There is called confidence and there is called overconfidence. So people in this material world have overconfidence in the material world. Yeah. Overconfidence in themselves. Yeah. So they have zero understanding. This is all dukhalim. I mean, they actually see dukhalim, but still they hanker after it. What is that? What kind of optimism is that? Optimism of a fool. Foolish optimism. When there is need for pessimism, there has to be. Because he is not just, but still he appreciates. Like you see, just now we said, a beautiful scenery is made up of horrible creatures, actually, who are suffering in complete modes of ignorance. But it's a scenery, nonetheless. So we are actually appreciating that the Lord can package suffering in such a way that you will actually enjoy it. It's suffering. All the living entities in that scenic location are actually suffering. But we enjoy that scene. So he can create suffering in such, he can accommodate suffering souls in such a way that it all looks beautiful. A scenery is a perfect representation of Maya. How illusory it is. So we do appreciate the Lord's creation. We appreciate more than the so-called optimistic people who actually don't appreciate God. They appreciate their sense gratification. They're optimistic about the sense gratification. Rajeshwari Mataji, you see. Because I said we did not complete only one verse, we did. He said tomorrow can continue, no worries. Shivan's class live stream every day. Alright, so I think we'll stop here. Anything else? I think prasadam is the only thing in everybody's mind. Okay. Still there is. Okay.
The sinful tendencies, the sinful activities, we say, like meat eating, sex, intoxication, gambling. They may be immoral, but why do we say actually it's sinful? Is it because the sense control, it's a deterrent for sense control, which eventually takes us away from unity and averts us from the goal of achieving the order and spiritual progress? Or is it sinful immorality? So why, let's say for example, somebody wants to intoxicate and go back and sleep nicely, does nothing, abusive, is completely on his own. How would that be sinful? Would it be like because he is doing that, his consciousness is not in the right state and it will not be helpful in spiritual progress, and he will do jiva hamsa, devalue his own soul? Is that the reason why it is sinful?
Yes. So when a person gets intoxicated, the question is for those who are on the live stream. So the question is, the person gets intoxicated, but he doesn't do anything else. Is he still sinful? Why is he sinful? Like, what is the sin there? So first of all, Ishavassamidam sarvam. Everything belongs to the Lord. So this body belongs to the Lord. And I cannot impose my authority on this body because it's not my body in the first place. If I am not the owner, I have to use it in the according to the will of the owner. So anything against that will is a sin, and we are already intoxicated with our false ego. Intoxication means we are under the toxic influence of our body, the material modes. So that is intoxication. So we have to get out of that. So our bodily situation, our misidentification. What happens in an intoxicated state? He forgets who he is. So we are already in an intoxicated state where we have already forgotten who we are, because we do not know we are not the body. So we are already intoxicated. Why are we furthering that intoxication and even getting further in that? So Krishna is merciful to call that a sin, so to prohibit us. Because if he can say, you can do whatever you want, let's not call it sin, let's call it sense gratification. But it is sinful because you will be punished, because I care to bring you back. So you will receive punishment. So something that will warn you of punishment is termed as sin. You do this, you will punish. So at least for the fear of the punishment, at least I will stop. So it is a deterrent. So we even call it a sin. Prison house is there not just to accommodate the outlaws, but to be a deterrent for those who are actually lawful. If they at all think about breaking the law, prison house is not nice place, I will not do it. Police is very strong here, okay, I will not do it. So that power is necessary, the authority, for any country to, if it is not strong, then you cannot maintain peace. Without strength there is no peace, even spiritually. Without spiritual strength we cannot have peace. Nasti buddhira yuktasya nachayasya bhavana nacha bhavayatas shantir ashantasya putah sukham. But nasti buddhira, if we are not yukta with Krishna conscious, then we cannot have spiritual strength. And without strength we cannot have peace. In India now, geopolitics going on. India-China is having some cold war going on. Although the altercation at the border is pretty much not there, but there is a cold war going on. Spreading of influence through trade, through industrial development, whatever. So India is trying to show its might now, building up its defenses and all this so many reformations happen. And that is a deterrent. A strong king builds up his army not to actually wage war. I mean, a lawful Rajrishi, Parikshit, King Parikshit was so strong that he was the supreme emperor of the entire planet. But although he had such a huge army and complete resources at his disposal, he never used it to attack another kingdom. No, it is to establish peace. When he saw a man who was killing a cow, black man, Kali personified, he immediately took out his sword. That is a display of power. But that is for establishing peace. So because of the fear of that sword of Parikshit Maharaj, Kali didn't dare enter this planet. Only after Parikshit Maharaj left, then only Kali entered. So it's actually a deterrent. So Krishna terms it sinful and then everything. So this is all, it's actually sinful, anyway, because we are going away from this thing. And it is not that Krishna personally really wants to give the suffering so that we realize our lesson. It's not, Krishna designed in such a way that, if we gratify our senses, he gave this hells for punishment. Because he doesn't want us to be happy without him. He wants us to be happy only in cooperation with him. No. He doesn't need to have hell for us. We will be automatically miserable, even in the heavenly planets, it is said. We will be miserable because we are competing with others who also want to be the Supreme Lord. When there is competition, there is misery. Only when one is an undisputed king, yes, and there is no match, even then he will be bored. Like there is a demon who had 1,000 strong arms. What is it? Banasura? 1,000? So strong that he said, what is the use of my strong 1,000 arms? There's no fighter, to match me. So he goes about destroying mountains with his hands. So, he is destroying mountains, destructive. So, okay, Krishna is your, good enemy. You can fight him. So, that's what happens if one is in this material. Actually, he will never be happy, even without help. And he will just be lost. So rather, and if I want my sense gratification, and another person also wants his sense gratification. Krishna did not want to create hell for us to suffer. No. But there has to be some laws where you have come to the material world for sense gratification. He also came for sense gratification. But you are interfering with the sense gratification. What should I do now? Allow both of you? No. Because that is not possible. Either one, right? So then if I interfere with somebody else's listen, then I will be punished. That is fair. Because if hell is coming upon me, because I am interfering with somebody else's sense gratification, or I have checked somebody else's progress, jiva himsa, so that is actually, I may find it, hey, what is this? But if I am on the side where I am being attacked or harassed, it is a protection for me. Because he will have to suffer because of that, because of the sin. You see? So he will have to pay for it. And eventually I will be rewarded, and if I am on the right path. So that is actual protection. So to manage all rascals who are in one place, want to meet the Supreme Lord, so there has to be some law and order to protect everyone's interests actually. At the same time, elevate. And if there is hell, then it's a good reminder. Go the other way, try the other way. Then we will try. What other question you had? Okay, Rajagishwar Prabhu, last promise. So, Rajagishwar Prabhu is saying, I have probably mentioned this before. Good thing, he says, good thing Lord Brahma is not a Filipino. Because tapa, the word tapa in Filipino is a Filipino delicacy made with the flesh of a cow. Look at the tapasya. The word tapa in Filipino language, Tagalog, is a so-called delicacy made of the flesh of a cow, beef. So he said, good thing he's not a Filipino. Alright, so thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, I go.